Okay, we're live. All right. The button is red and the numbers are clacking away. Oh yeah, and I can see the little view meter letting me know I get a signal. All right, I'm Verdi Busto. This is the Schumann Resonance Harmonics channel on YouTube and Facebook. And I'm on WordPress today behind me to my over there. Uh, Um, uh, I'm usually on my the website. A couple times I've been on Patreon. And this one here, I posted this one uniquely on the WordPress, the YouTube version of this. And I've said that a lot of this is a work in progress. I've only been working on this for like 4 days now, in my spare time. It's still new. I still got maybe get another week left to go on it. Some days I don't actually work on the writing itself. Some days I post it and comment on that and get more um, ideas on the earlier parts. These become a work in progress through committee, and posting them in certain places and getting people's feedback and all of this stuff. That's sort of why I do that. Part of why the magic, why I do the magic, is to get feedback from different places. Before I make a video on all of it, like I will be doing. This video is just a teaser. There's going to be a premiere. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a premiere that comes with this when I'm more done, more ready for that. I needed to post something. Got to keep the train moving. Got to keep the boat steaming along, as it were. Got to keep doing my part. So even if it's not in the Schumann resonances, it's something bridging Schumann resonances to wherever land we're going. In this case, where it's meditation. If you're new here, welcome. Please remember to like, share, comment, subscribe, and if you would hit the bell, the ringy dingy thingy, and select all notifications, or you are likely to get none. That seems to be the algorithm for YouTube. I did not make this up. I'm observing what seems to be a trend or a fact or a trend. I don't know. Um, so uh, so that's basically how you get the notifications. Or let me say this, in my personal observations, I know that's the best way that someone can keep the notifications current of a channel as the ones that you keep interacting with. um and it's probably a good idea, if you've subscribed to a channel, to actually go over there and see what's been happening. Make sure you still subscribe. I just offer you that humbly. I do that. Clear it out. Which ones have I not seen from in a while? Sometimes I've been subscribed to things that I'm not actually interested in. I haven't subscribed to. That's a thing as well. So I think it's important, from my experience, to keep yourself current and active with the YouTube in a lot of ways. And that's clearing out and adding to your subscriber list. And this is just my personal experience. This is what I do. And so the channels that I like, I've been getting updates regularly. And not everyone does, but not everyone interacts with YouTube the way that I do. So that's just my personal experience on this. This one here, I am going to work to say the word as little as possible, yet I will offer you this, that little interjection helps me to collect my thoughts. And a lot of speakers need that. I am aware I say that, the word, and I'm going to work on addressing that, to not say it and just remain silent for however long it takes me to not say and move on to wherever we're moving next. Um, all right. So as I said, this one is a teaser. more or less a teaser. I don't think I'm going to put this as a premiere. I haven't decided yet. I like premieres because they give me a chance to talk with people, but I get to sit there and, with everyone as well. And so that's another more time, however long it takes, so it's time. It's time. It's work. I told Tommy, Captain Tommy, that it's work to do a channel. Especially if you want to be the captain and have as grand plans as he does. Like, oh, honey, it's a lot of work, especially organizing, keeping everything organized. Yeah, being your own secretary. Not only are you doing everything, planning it, you are also organizing everything, keeping your own secretary. It's important to be organized going into this, or you may have problems later on trying to get or trying to establish. If you haven't established a system, you're not redoing anything. So, as time goes on, it gets more and more difficult to establish a system and organization if you haven't imposed one already, some type. So it's a conversation I was having with Captain Tommy, about, a career, a career of content creators have to stick together. And, it's some things that, for him and other, YouTube creators to consider is how you organize everything. The subject matter and putting the descriptions and all of this stuff, the nuts and bolts of it. There's a lot to have to think about as a content creator. So this is going to be the subject matter of this is going to be basically meditation and prayer and meditation. They're two different things. This is going to be they're related, interrelated, but they are two different type of things. And I'm going to explain why. This is, and by teaser, what I'm going to do, like I said, it's probably going to be not a premiere. It's probably just going to be regular video, public video I put out there for people to see before the actual premiere. And I may not put this in with the rest of everything else. I think this is just going to be standalone. And with this abstract, I'm calling it. I love that, the scientific abstracts and the research I go through. So with the synopsis of this, it'll be open to the public, and you see the basic, outline of it as I have it now, and it's a work in progress. It, may be changing. It's likely to be changing if I work on it some more. So with the video, this here video, I'm working on, and I've talked about this before. I don't want to go into too much of it, but I've talked about I'm working with the videos, making shorter length ones, taking abstracts of longer videos, posting. There's a lot of work to do this. Yeah, and I don't have the time necessarily. I have my daytime job that puts the roof over my head. Talked about this. All right. So as I'm able to, I try at least one long video to work on getting one abstracted one shorter video that people can watch. You don't have to listen to the 2-hour video. Watch it. There's some interesting parts of it that I'm kind of taking. So I'm working on a new system for those who are new to this. Again, welcome. But we're progressing this based on you guys. What like Wages has the same kind of thing. Other channels have the same thing. I don't have time. You don't have time to watch a 2-hour plus video. So no, I want to give you some nuts and bolts of it. And let me offer you this. In comments, if you ask me to pull out some stuff and extract it, I will do it. I think it's important. Really think it's important for people to to be able to get what's this. And I don't have time to do all of that I'd like to. So this is just an offering toward that as things are going on, moving on. It's the smaller videos are an act of love on my part for you, because again, you don't have time to to watch 2 hours, and I need to keep things relevant on my channel. I need to keep some mixes flowing. You guys can't be deprived of your Aaron mixes. I mean, it's a thing. I get a lot of comments. I need, feedback from Aaron to, to for Aaron to him so we can, see that people love him. You're not getting a gig locally. I don't care. It doesn't matter. My folks all over the world love you. Um, so, yeah, like I said, this is a teaser. Oh, and so, all right. So I didn't have, uh, getting on the material, I didn't have any good visual aids of meditation that I really thought. But I do have a folder called Ascension and oh my God, called Ascension and Etheric Bodies. The name of the folder. I think it's a good name, kind of for, I wouldn't call them meditational. I'm not sure what that they are. They're not meditation, but they're very uh visually inspiring. They're close to meditation. It's a folder of these really interesting things like I showed at the beginning, in the very beginning there. And I think what I'm going to do for this video is I'm going to break out some of those instead of the text like I a lot of times do as the visual aid during the Aronmix. I'm going to show some of the interesting etheric body pictures. It's hard to explain things in words that I don't know if someone else knows. I think if I say the word etheric body or astral body, some of the people know what I'm talking about. And I'm a 10. I have the 10, the wonderful 10 of you that are the most advanced that know what's going on. So, of the 10 of you, I'm hoping that a few of you, there's at least two that I know of, Pamela and Swanee, uh, and Jacqueline, um, the two, I'm pretty sure the two of them, and I think a few others know what those expressions are. Um, so as I'm working toward explaining some of the more, I'm the tech guy, I'm the technical guy. So not only on the Schumann resonances, but on the etheric technician. This is what I do, and I'm working to explain some of the higher order technical etheric stuff that is where we're moving to in an everyday level language for the majority of people to get something, extract meaning from. Not just some word, but maybe I can put this in some context. The etheric body, what is that? What does that mean? These pictures of the interesting, the colorful rainbow, yeah, Christmas lights, I call them, the stack of lights, the stack of colored lights of a person. Oh, what is that? What does that mean? Well, yeah, that's what the etheric technician does, is explain these higher order etheric principles to you so that they're useful to you. And especially, I didn't have any better visual aids, but I think, the going through the astral body folder, I think I'll find some good visual aids in there. Okay, and I'll make it work. I'm a creative guy. I can make it work. All right. So the Aronmix is just us. It's named us, just us. All right. So this is yeah, I think what I'm going to do, and I'm only going to read up to this part here. All right. I'm not going to read after that. This is another video. Okay. Just so the word. So this video here is just going to be of the abstract, and I'm going to expound on it. So this video here itself, oh good God, I'm at 15 minutes already. So this video itself is going to be a good kind of synopsis of a bunch of spiritual, material that you might not have thought about. And it'll be a really good kind of introduction to what's coming later. And I think that me doing this kind of the abstract, the preface here, I think is a really good video for people, because it's I'll introduce some topics, and there's some, like that's what the abstract does. And a lot of times, just as a little, the one of these field, how do I say this? out in the field, the lecturers, the traveling lecturers, of all of the scientific material I've presented on my channel. There have been a number of symposium research pieces I've given, which are the symposium ones are awesome because what they do is they take their research and they give a summarization of their research, which is different than them presenting their research um, for the purposes of publication in a trade journal. Assumedly that's where they get some money from the royalties of publishing. They have to keep publishing, but the symposium is like your peers. It's a group of your peers that are also in other interesting related fields. So when these guys do the field out in the field, the symposium, the presentation for their peers, they'll present the abstract and give it out with the program there and give an outline. And a lot of times they have the actual research, the full research that's there for the people who paid the membership, blah blah blah, whatever. And it doesn't necessarily go to everyone, but for everyone who's in the auditorium, they'll get a copy of the abstract, and only certain people will get the research. And if you're not on the list and blah blah blah, you won't get all of it. But they present it. The material is up there on the board, and they read through all of the material, and it's a wonderful experience. So having been to a few of these, I like having that kind of a format that you have a simple synopsis of the literature. And some of these videos, a lot of the videos I've done have been in that format, that here's I did a copy and paste, and you can find it on my website, you can find it in various places. But in the video I go into more in-depth stuff, and I talk about other stuff, and I give visual representations that I don't necessarily do in the website version. And that's one of the reasons I kind of like doing this, is I have a number of different places that I post stuff, and I do it, and I post things that are just for that site, either WordPress. I don't post everything on WordPress, but I post some things that are different there. I post some things just for Patreon. I try to have at least some copy of something on my website. But I don't post all of everything on the website, like this. I don't think I'm having a complete version of this on the website, but I've given a version on the website. It's part of the Harlequin way of keeping everything decentralized. I've talked about this. It's, the way I like doing it. It's fun. It's, like there's not a carbon copy if you're, and I give the links to the other places at the bottom of this. I'm sure everyone, if like on the description, if you're brand new here, you wouldn't know this, but anyone else you've seen, I make links and post, references where I get all my research. All right, so let's play some music here. Going to, like I said, the name of this is Just Us. This is the Aronmix. I've played this before. I'm pretty sure I've played this before, but there was a few, before I go into, before I play this, these days I play the majority of mixes, Aronmix, that I put on any given video I've listened to at least once. And some of them, like these days more now, I get time stamps of where it transitions and how long I have between the mixes, and so I script it into my script, and I've been working with it more, designing everything into it as I'm going along. Like I said, I think you understand what I'm saying. I'm scripting it in. And sticking with a good time code gets scripted in. If you want to, be concise, you have to script it in, and you have to stick with the script, and you can ad lib, but it's like, all right, boom, I'm at the point now. Oh, 33 minutes. All right, let's get back on track. It doesn't, staying on time, staying on schedule, staying in a concise format is not something that happens accidentally. You got to plan it in. Um, so, this is a great video, great mix for this video. So I'm going to play it, and then I'm going to shut up. Because I'm rambling. We're back. Am I back? I think I'm back. All right. Pause this here. All right. This is Verde Abusto, and thank you for being here. I appreciate everyone for being here. All right. So where I'm at is I've explained the lifeboat, my lifeboat series. Just so it's there's two reasons why it's important to understand what the lifeboat means. That it's related to what Captain Tommy is doing, but it is part of my own pathway as well. So I shared in one video, rather long, I think, introduction to where my lifeboat and what the lifeboat means to me. And it's not unrelated to, it's not that significantly different from what, Captain Tommy and his lifeboat is. But when I say the lifeboat series, it's intended to be useful to him in what he does, um, but it is of, because it's addiction related, right? And that's important. That there is there's a area that we're overlapping. So, uh, just this is kind of a I guess I don't want to say it's a delicate area, but it's a word I'm looking for, a finesse. It's a fine point, I guess. That's the word I'm looking for. That like I said, I'm not doing it for Tommy's channel. I'm doing it in place of what I would have otherwise been doing if I wasn't dedicated to the Schumer resonance. Right? And I want to say this too, that I would not necessarily have been aiming what I do toward addicts and alcoholics, right? So I think Captain Tommy can get some credit for, for kind of percolating that idea up within what I would have been doing anyway, and kind of that I may not necessarily have been gearing it toward alcoholic or addicts, but at this point, things being what they are, it's like I couldn't imagine a more natural course for them to have taken. Right? I think the way things happen to me are just the way things should have happened, and I don't know a better way to put it than that. What happened should have happened. It would have happened anyway. In some way, but it's better that it happened this way, I guess. All right. So, like I say, so it's important to note that even though it's kind of a footnote, it's still within, it's still part of, like, I need to remember this, that the principles that, how do I say this? Let me just say this, that I had in the meeting, Saturday is my meditation meeting. So one of the things that developed for me as I was meditating Saturday is with the group is the difference between scientific principles and spiritual principles. That I can work scientific principles and understand those by myself, maybe with the help of a higher power, but a lot of times it's through observation. And I read and I can figure out the scientific principles without another person. And in a lot of cases, another person may just confuse that getting of it until I've actually gotten it. With spiritual principles, it's much more complicated because it takes at least two people to work a spiritual principle. For example, patience. You might think that you're a patient person. First, patience may not be of value to you, all right, to a person. Right? But if patience is of value, and you believe that you are a patient person, okay, that's fine, no worries. Doesn't matter if you are or not, if you're by yourself. However, in order to truly test your patience, if you are indeed a patient person, how do you test if you're a patient person? Try public transportation. Wait at the bus stop, take a train, take a bus, take an airplane, carpool, what have you. And then you see for sure, wait in line. Okay, these are all things that happen that may or may not test our patience. So, so it's really super important that, to remember that as highly developed as I may be, that I often need other people to help me, kind of, is to really truly test how advanced I am. I don't know if there's a better way to put that, but that's part of the process of spiritual growth is not to isolate from other people, but is to include other people into your growth and watch them pick apart what you've done or be otherwise rude or mean to you, and still, if your spiritual principles and your training hold true, even in the worst of it, you will still remain intact in your training, and you won't collapse. Right? That's one of the it's one. So that's a principle. One of the things about uh, spiritual principles is that in order to really truly test them, if you know you got them, you have to you have to work them with other people. I think that's the simplest way to put that. Um, so uh, meditation is, we talk about prayer meditation. Meditation becomes one of those things that um, you can do for yourself, by yourself, but it also involves other people if you start, praying for others, that you start exercising meditation as a certain practice. When you're working the, the working the practice of prayer and meditation in your daily life, meditation itself becomes a certain practice. And then again, prayer and meditation becomes a certain practice in your life. Hopefully that's not confusing. Trying to kind of search for the words in some of this, and I'm getting more of a picture than I am actual words. So I'm translating the picture I have in my head into words, and hopefully it's making sense to you. If not, please put comments on the bottom. I'm not getting what you're saying. Or, hey, I do get what you're saying. I appreciate that. I want feedback from people. Let me know, if I'm making sense to you, if I'm making logical sense to you. That's important. Thank you. Okay, it's 33:03. All right. I think I babbled on enough for the time being. It's really time to get into the literature, but I'm gonna play some music instead. Gonna do the right thing and play some music, and then I'm going to get into the actual reading, and then to see how much of that I can take before I get to play some music again. Quite honestly, I need music in my life. Lord Shiva dances to keep the world going. I need music. What we got here? All right, yeah. So we're gonna play this. This is a good combo. 3 minutes. So on that cheery note, be back in a little bit. Hey, we're back. All right. And hopefully I remembered to have had the microphone on last time before I turned the music on. I don't know. There's a lot of moving parts to this, quite honestly. Um, there really is. I know a lot about how this works, and yet even with that, you try to automate some stuff, and yet when you have more complex software, like that's part of one of the problems of it is the fact that you really just you know, Captain Tommy's problem is common enough, a lot more common than you think. You know, the software would mean to do well, and it sort of otherwise would do well, and it just doesn't. Uh, Not on your specific machine, you know. Anyway, uh, so the fact that I can get mine to work as good and have the voice when they do, I'm very grateful for. And honestly, when it works all the way through, when I get the whole video, and I am so effing grateful. Because it doesn't necessarily follow through that with all the best technology, you're going to the machine, something glitchy is not going to happen. And we are in Mercury retrograde. Thank you, your lordship Mercury, for allowing me to keep doing this. I am very grateful. All right. Anyway, all right. Onward and upward. Yep. All right. So we get a voice. All right. Bing, bing. All right. So I think I found visual aids to meditation. All right. So again, I explained what the Lifeboat series is. It's a work in progress. We're discussing the difference between meditation itself and prayer and meditation. Um, and this is prayer and meditation. Hold, please. Okay. Talking about prayer and meditation as a cohesive practice for the addict or alcoholic in recovery. And so both of these are important. One cannot replace the other. Meditation is simply mindfulness. But what does mindfulness really mean? Okay. So I talk about what mindfulness really is. And the basic way to look at it relative to the program is singleness of purpose, right? First things first, okay? Meditation is a form of single-mindedness. It's purposedness, single purposeness. Uh, um, it's focus. These are its most simple elements. And there's things that you can focus on, but the thing that you focus on is not the meditation itself. So you can focus on your breathing if you want to, and that's a good idea, but breathing itself is not the meditation. Your breathing rate moves at its own natural flow. So the meditation is not necessarily you changing your your breath. The meditation is simply observing your breath. It's being mindful of your breathing and what you're doing. Before you change it, you have to observe it. What are you doing? So the mindfulness of meditation is being present in what's happening right now, right in front of you. And there's a great expression that I heard someone say in the meetings: put your head where your feet are. And I think that's a good, proper addict's meditation that they could use to kind of focus everything of, where's my head? Is it over my feet? It may seem silly, but if you're living in tomorrow or you're in yesterday, your feet are here in today. And that's something that's really important, that, you know, we're grounded and we're rooted in spiritual principles in order to go on in recovery, live a life without the substance or the chemical, the substance being the number one thing, right? So the replacement for that for the pre-use insanity of wherever we're at, like the 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 anchor for that is to put your head where your feet is. And that is what meditation at its root is making that happen, of putting your head where your feet are at. That is mindfulness. But what does mindfulness really mean? Okay, being present in the now. And so in the video, I explain a little bit more about what being present in the now is and why this is important for someone in recovery. Why isn't meditation itself a substitute for prayer and meditation? All right, that's a great question. I have a Saturday morning meeting that I go to. It's every Saturday. It's the 11th step meeting. It's a meditation meeting. All right. So we spend 5 minutes in meditation, okay, which should be theoretically prayer and meditation, but we don't, at this meeting, we don't practice the prayer and meditation. We discuss more the meditation. All right, so it's not quite the most balanced way to look at this, but whatever, it is what it is. It's a great meeting. We learn more about meditation at this meeting. All right, so the first thing that often we'll come in contact with is a meditation group or meditation meeting, or we hear about the Buddhist meditation. There's a lot of times there's a meditation group, or if you're like on the west end of the city here, there's a West End Yoga. There's a new studio that just opened up. People come into the door through the active yoga, the class meditation, group meditation, if you will, with the forms, working the poses or the postures of yoga, depending on what type they're doing. The housewife, bored, lonely housewife yoga meditation, I don't know, whatever it is, um, um, uh, um, so, they put out there, they have their little shingle, their little sandwich board. It says, West Side meditation. I'm sorry, West Side yoga. It's not a meditation, but what I'm saying is that the yoga groups are a lot of times how people come into a type of meditation. Right? It's one of the doors, and it's a wonderful door, the same as the rest of them. So people come into the first door, the first part of this, through meditation. And so that, for someone new in this, wrapping the head around just meditation itself, the simplest element of this, is maybe the most important. No, but I will say it probably is. It's the, what I refer to as the linear circuit, or the DC circuit of prayer, of contact with the divine, is through meditation. So meditation itself early on becomes a de facto substitute for prayer and meditation. And meditation itself should be mastered for what it is and what it does, but it is not a substitute for prayer and meditation as the cohesive program of, getting your needs met. And assumedly, the needs of your needs would also be your family's needs. So at some point, prayer, I'll put it another way, meditation doesn't necessarily require another person. There are scientific principles that don't require another person, another human, for me to understand them. Okay? Spiritual principles are different because it requires someone else involved. And that's the difference between the meditation and the prayer and meditation aspect of it, is that the meditation is, done for myself. I do this for myself, but prayer and meditation is what I do with someone else, and that someone else may be my higher power, may be, as I phrase it, the grand needs meter. So essentially, that's why meditation itself is not a substitute for prayer meditation because they're two different aspects, two different circuits, as I explained. The prayer and meditation circuit is the AC, or alternating current, which is like a wave. Okay, and I'll explain this in the video somewhere in there, hopefully. Uh, Exercising free will against the built-in forgetter. Humanity comes with a built-in forgetter, the genetic material itself. 7% of me is what comprises my free will. All right, so this is not new. It's new to some people. It's a relatively new topic for me, but this specifically is not brand new here. It's not new. I've I did I've I've talked about this in a few places about the 93% of what makes me is the genetic material that we all share. So 93% of what makes me is us. It's a we. 93% of me is we. There's only 7% or less. The non-coding DNA is the 93%. What they call junk DNA is 93%. The coding DNA, which may be closer to 3 or 4%, okay, 3 to 7%, whatever it is, it's not that much. The coding part of your DNA is what makes you individual and unique. Okay, so not much of what makes you is your free will. 7% of everything you do is your free will. And so this is one of the things that I have talked about before, but I discuss this now in relation to meditation and the built-in forgetter. What is the built-in forgetter? That is the 93% of what makes you unique, being all of us. And you're individually hiding behind or hiding within the ununiqueness of all of us as a organic species. I think I'm not sure if that's the best way to put it, but that's how I'm thinking of it. So you're stuck with that. What is the built-in forgetter? Essentially, this is the 93% of my genetic material. A built-in forgetter may be the damage and trauma that I have sustained as a child that forces me to have a poor self-image. I think that may be the best way to put it. There are other things that add to, that could be a built-in forgetter, but these are part of, the accumulated, what I call the accumulated ballast of the lowest density of your emotions, the fear, the hurt, the guilt, the shame, all of these things. Those are what contribute to the built-in forgetter of humanity, being in the suit of isolation. Addiction at its core is a void in my spirit and my heart. I work to fill this space with material things. Often, alcohol and drugs are a thing, the spirit which tries to fill that hole in my heart. May be self-explanatory, or it may not be. I don't think a lot of people would think of it this way. But alcohol, the addiction itself is a living thing. I don't look at it necessarily as a disease so much as maybe a virus. Disease, the root of disease is dis-ease. So it's an imbalance. Just at its core element of what a disease is it's an imbalance in your system and the circulating system of not only your blood and your air, but the energy, the circulating energy of a person. So the dis-ease of your system is what causes, sickness. So this is part of what drugs and alcohol are to the addict, is that they take the place of wellness and balance in a person's life. So as I become more in tune with my addiction, what the addiction tells me, and that's to drink in an unnatural kind of way, a way that would otherwise kill someone else. That's what my addiction leads me to, intelligently leads me to. Uh, my addiction intelligently leads me to the place where I would do myself harm or others harm. My addiction knows what is knows what my kind of deep, heartfelt desires are, and it acts on those in a way that is not healthy. All right. There is somewhere in me, there's a void in my spirit, in my deep, in my heart that is, that's missing. There's a void that is, there's a part of me that's missing. There's a part of my heart, there's a part of my spirit, part of my soul. A lot of times it's been taken by someone. And we may not being consciously know who took that, but our bodies know. And it's part of what the addiction does is it fills that void with an I don't care, a kind of anesthesia to our feelings. It anesthetizes the drugs, the alcohol, anesthetizes the pain and the hurt that we feel to the point where it doesn't hurt so much. That void is just a dull kind of throb because the rest of everything else doesn't hurt anymore. My body itself doesn't hurt so much. And so part of the void in my heart is a piece that's missing, was tore out from me that I need to get back. And if I don't go to the person who took it from me and get it back from them, it's just always going to be hurting. It's always going to be bleeding. So, because the person that took that part of me is not giving it back, they need it for themselves, they're not giving it back, then I'm left with a hole in my heart that is not going to heal. That was for someone. That's for someone. So, in order to get back what was taken from me, I justify or I validate a chemical, a drug, a whatever, pair of shoes, a death defying experience, excitement on the edge, these things where I'm in control of my own thing, but it's on the edge and it's close to death. And that's what that spirit is what a lot of us latch onto in place of a drink or a drug or in place of therapy to get that whole healed. Is these near death experiences, either from a drink, a drug, a chemical, a toxic relationship, hoarding experiences, big thing, addicted to stuff around them. A lot of hoarders have more deep seated issues than you might think. And it's not, and what's worse about it is it's not publicly obvious like people with a drink or a drug problem. You haven't been arrested. Maybe some people are shoplifting, all right? Maybe that's the thing that happens. But no, a lot of times hoarders are not. They don't shoplift. They get that satisfaction of hearing the cash register ding 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 ding, and then paying. Oh, it's like, oh, you pay your dealer. You're not going to rip off your dealer. You're not going to rip off the stores. Same thing. The supply. You don't want the supply to end. You know. So that's really important. People who have the substitute, not just chemical, but you can substitute for a thing, and that's one of these areas that we're talking about here, that we're discussing, of how you substitute that the one spirit for a thing, for something else, to fill that void, the hole in your heart. Um, Following the pathway with heart. Okay. Uh, what I had thought. Following the pathway with heart. The love of one addict for another might act as this invisible force of a working higher power. Follow the pathway with heart. As it says in the one of my favorite books, like Castaneda, Don Juan tells us all pathways are the same. They all lead to nowhere. And I think that's important to remember, that even recovery can seem like a nothing kind of thing. Like, why did I bother getting sober? Eventually, you may say that to yourself. What is the point? All paths, all paths lead nowhere. However, one is the pathway with heart, and the other is not. And the pathway without the heart will kill you. The pathway with heart, at least, makes you happy on. And so what that tells me is it's going to be difficult. Each path, and there's not really any great reward at the end of it. But one will actively try and kill you. One will try and end your life. And you will not ever be happy on that one that is not on the pathway with heart. And that's basically what that means. And specifically, what that's talking about is the love of one addict for another. The program, that's what we find. That I help you more because it's going to help me. And that is the most honest thing that we can tell someone. That don't, when someone, most honest thing that we can say sometimes to someone who goes out and uses, we try to help them, we offer whatever, and they apologize, I'm sorry. You can say, stop. Okay. Okay, don't stop. You're forgiven. Before the words come out of your mouth, you're forgiven. Why? How? Because best in my effort as I did, keep you, hopefully, from drink, and it doesn't work, it's not a personal reflection on me. I haven't failed. I've not failed. You go out, my inspirational whatever, blah, 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 couldn't connect with you. It's fine. Okay. I'm not holding it against you. Birds fly, fish swim, alcoholics drink, addicts use. If you're an addict and you know it and you admit it and you haven't used today, you're a miracle. That's all. There's better. Maybe you can do better tomorrow, whatever. Maybe you haven't done perfect, blah, 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 whatever. It doesn't matter. If you're an addict and or an alcoholic and you haven't used, then you're a miracle. You've done your job for the day. And this is the pathway with heart. That you could do better, yes, and you want to do better, but just live in today, live in the now. And those of us who've been around for a while, hold the candle for those, hold a seat for them, for you, because that's what keeps us coming, is keeping it going for the next person, the next addict, the next alcoholic. It is either that or the program gets stale and gets boring because the what's in it for me. That's either it. That's either or. Either it gets stale, it gets boring, and nothing in it for me, or you can accept that you need to give into this in order to get back. Giving in, giving back. That's how it works. And so that love that the old timer has for the newcomer, you can't explain it. You don't know why. That's why. That's how the magic works. Is that there's someone who is new and they need to hear the message. And if the doors aren't open, they're not here to hear the message. That is what's ultimately the most important thing. Following the pathway with heart, what that means and why it's important. I humbly submit to you that if you've been through the worst of the worst and you have died and you've still lived and you're looking for a reason, there you go. There isn't anything greater than that for a reason for you to have lived is to tell your story of where the chemical, the drug, the drink took you. It is that simple. It can be that simple. The meaning of this can be that simple, of you deciding you will make a difference in someone else's life. And therefore, they're then making a difference in your own life as a result. But the number one thing, if someone uses, you try and help them, they use and they go out, you can release them of the apology, of the guilt. No. Birds fly, fish swim, alcoholics drink. No, you're released of the guilt of that. That's what you do until you're better. No. May not have kept you sober away from a drink, but it worked for me. Right? So thank you. You can thank them. Thank you. And, oh, good golly, thank you for showing me what it's like the next day, right? What it's like to have to come back. The guilt and the shame isn't coming with a drink. It came before the drink. No, it comes with being hungover and being miserable that you're still there, that nothing changed. You had time, gave it up. No, the people who've been around for a while need to see that. That's why you need to keep coming back. Because it's great when people see you get some time, but we also need to see what happens when people don't get time. They slip, and that is part of the process as well. That's what helps us to remember to keep it green, keep it fresh. This is something people talk about. They don't get, if it is not myself or my free will, then who or what am I handing control over to? In the 12 and 12 book, they talk about the hole in the donut, the third step, I'll be the hole in the donut. And I remember that when I came into the program, I was the hole in the donut. There was nothing in the middle. It was all burned out. No, it was just a shell of a person. That's how I was. That I was the hole in the donut coming into this. And the program has given me some life, and I'm grateful for that. And so this is one of the things that we work through, who or what. If I give over my will, who or what will be in charge? And it's like, no, you are still running the show. You will not ever get rid of your will. It's something that you need to intentionally focus and attune with power greater than yourself. And this is something that we talk about. The grand needs meter, if you will. What is awareness? As an addict in recovery, my full attention needs to be here in the moment, in the now, in the presence of this moment. My will and intention need to be focused on this moment, or I relive all sorts of trauma that has happened to me up to this point. I think that's self-explanatory. All right, so this right here is actually the beginning of part 2. I think what I'm going to do is pause this for now, actually play music and then pause it, and then come back because it's getting close to the time the pizza shop is going to close and I don't want to miss the pizza slice. So I'm going to pause this and then come back. Alrighty, we're back. That's a good song. I like that particular mix. Okay, onward and upward. We're at 1 hour, 11 minutes, and 1 second. All right, 1:11:01. All right, so the third density is the world of form. All right, so a lot of people look at three dimensions, third dimension in certain ways. People have different ideas. I can't say, hey, your ideas are wrong, your belief is wrong. All right. So I work for what I work for myself. I work what I know, and I try and explain what third density is. And third density is, among other things, it's the world of forms, the world of physical, chemical based form. Third density is you could have, I like to explain it this way, that you can have physical reality on other planets and other places, but it's not the same as Earth. In other places, you could be born and have your memories, and you might remember other lifetimes. You might remember what you were before incarnation. It's different here on Earth. We're stuck with the world of forms. It's a linear, it's a very unique space here. But the world of forms is one of the things we navigate here, the chemical nature of reality. Objects of Earth School get defined through the physical geometry of the molecular characteristics. The world of forms is essentially the veil of Maya, or what we are born into is also called the veil of forgetting. The chemical construct of Earth based reality is the nature of chemical existence here. It's a lot to kind of, it's a lot that I wrote there, but essentially we live within the physical matrix, the chemical uh, bonding of the elements, essentially. And some elements work well together, and some elements don't work well together. Some geometries work well together, and some geometries don't work well together. Um, uh, but within the veil of forgetting the linear progression of everything, the construct of the genetic, organic material of the earth as being the vessel in which a life force can exist, this is one of the foundational elements to the planet Earth. Um, it is indeed an electromagnetic, universe. These are two polarities of, there's two polarities of meditation. So this is something I'm working on. Not only am I talking about it from like the spiritual principle, but all of this stuff has to relate to the Schumann resonances and or electromagnetics somehow. All right. So this is one of the great tasks that I have coming into this is how do I relate this to electromagnetics? All right. So the DC circuit of meditation is essentially I am at one with the activity of the moment. I am at one with the activity of meditation. I am at one with the thing I'm doing right now at its simplest elements. I am at one. It's one-to-one relationship. Uh, I am I may or may not be in control of an equipment, a thing, a moment, but I am in the moment. I am a part of the moment. And if I have to work, I have obligations to put a roof over my head. Sometimes I am just within the parameter of my space and the tools that I'm working with. So this is all the DC circuit of meditation. This is the first dimensional density. All right. The AC circuit of meditation is the request and answer circuit. So it's a back and forth, a request and then wait for an answer. That's the AC circuit. All right. What is form? All right. I discuss somewhat of the notion of what form is, and I've been working on uh, the idea. This is one of those discussions that I've been um, talking about. Is as we go into dimensions and densities, what is form, and so that's one of the key elements related to meditation as an alcoholic or a drug addict is what form does my practice take? What is the proper form for meditation? These are things I ask. These are questions I'm asking that I address in uh, the video dealing with the subject, the full video. Um, what is the proper form for meditation? Well, the proper form for meditation essentially is being present for the activity that you're doing in the moment. Uh, Meditation itself is merely the first step or the key to the first doorway, perhaps. Meditation is simply mindfulness to the activity in the moment. This activity may be simply of monitoring the breathing. For example, the master says, if I become enlightened through cutting wood. If I cut wood, I am paying attention to cutting wood and not something else. There's a longer way to put the story, but essentially that's the way the koan works, is that the the way I become enlightened is I chop wood. Um, Prayer and meditation is a dedicated spiritual practice. At its essence, it is a request along with the waiting for an answer. So the prayer itself may or may not have a certain form. I didn't deal with a certain form of request for the prayer, or the form of the prayer, because it comes from the heart. And it's not my place to impose that as part of this discussion. However, we are talking about the meditation of waiting for an answer, or as I call it, listener meditation. There isn't, there may not be a certain set form to be in for listening to, for listening meditation, but there is definitely forms not to take for listening. I think that's the simplest way to put that. Um, we monitor breathing in all the things I do at all times. This is the body's way of signaling to me what my emotional form of readiness is. I may not be ready to face the rest of my day if my emotional state is paying attention to only my pain and hurt. I think the readiness of my emotional state essentially is dealing with, hurts and pains, being flexible, allowing the energy to come in, move through me, and then channel out. So when I'm not at a state of readiness of dealing with uh, turmoil, um, then my breathing will tell me that there's a problem. Um, I talk about this more in the article. I wanted to give a general description, so I'm kind of trying to figure out the best, simplest way to put this. What emotional form of readiness means. Not everyone is at the state of being ready to live in the moment. This is something that's really important, that as we meditate, it is helping us, causing us to be in the moment. That's one of the, how do I say that? It's one of the um, tensions, one of the, uh, how do I say this? One of the benefits, certainly one of the benefits of meditating. Okay, I think that's probably a good way to put it. The immediate, direct attention to the task or the object in the moment has been lost. The initial DC circuit has been broken. All right. So if I'm not at a state of emotional readiness, if I am living, say, I'm living in the past, I'm living in something from last week or last year, and I'm not at a state of able to take in new information, um, the the DC circuit, the direct circuit, my one-to-one connection with the task is broken. So the DC circuit, simple path of enlightenment is paying attention to what you're doing, essentially. Um, so if I'm not at the emotional ready, then I'm not paying attention to the task at hand, and that circuit is broken. I'm not where I am. My head is not where my feet are. I'm not present in the moment. And so whatever the thing that I'm doing that I'm supposed to be doing in the moment is is not going to be done properly. It's not going to be fixed, it's not going to be resolved, it's not going to be done properly. It's going to need to be maybe repaired. Certainly it will need to be fixed properly or be done properly. So that is why it is important to be attentive in the moment and not lose the focus on what you're doing, to not break the connection with what the work of that moment is supposed to be. Um, and I know this myself. I am guilty of this myself, and I talk about this getting sidetracked, getting off topic, getting off track, and then losing uh, um, my pathway, losing track of where I'm supposed to be, and then just getting lost. And I don't like that because I like being on topic. There's a lot of things I need to say, I have to say, and if I get sidetracked in all the things, it's going to be forever before I finally finish what I have to say. The important message may not ever get reached. I may just have gotten lost off topic. So for me, that's important. Why I need to have a script and I write all this stuff down so that at least I have a coherent narrative. So that even if I do get off script, I know where I am and it's not so bad. At least I don't feel like I'm totally lost if I have something to look at. So that's why it's important from a practical perspective to not get lost in the DC circuits. Why it's always important to connect with what you're doing when you're doing it to the point it's done, and then move on to the next thing. The form and posture of prayer and meditation that are the most effective are those which allow a person to obtain a clear connection to this greater power. All right. So one of the things that I talk about is the posture of a person, the form that a person takes in their meditation of being attentive to what they're doing right there in the moment. And sometimes the task at hand is listening, to be listening for an answer, to be listening for a response. So that is what I'm talking about here, where if you're listening for an answer, that needs to be the number one job, and the form of that needs to be of a type of form where you are able to listen, where you are receptive to an answer. And it's entirely possible that if you are regularly involved in prayer and meditation practices, that you set aside a place and a time that has maybe a desk with some pens or pencils and some paper so you can take notes after your meditation session. Additionally, I would hold that if a person is meditating and they're working on themselves, a person may also get answers to some questions that are floating around. or some resolutions or answers to things that were floating around that you might not have known were important, or other things become awakened or opened up. And at that point, it's important to write down the revelations, the things that become, things that become revealed. Uh, and I really maintain that it's if you are on a spiritual pathway, if you are looking for spiritual guidance, it's important to have a notebook, and it's important to keep notes, and it's important to write down the moment that you feel you're inspired by something. That whatever your guides are, that you act upon the inspiration. That is one of the most important parts in the meditation, is what's been revealed. If nothing's been revealed, and it's fine. Maybe you just feel better, but a lot of times something does open up, and even if it's not a big thing, I really truly believe it's important for people to record their experiences and this stuff. All right, so this was a lot longer than I had expected, and I appreciate everyone for being here. I'm gonna find some music. Okay, I think I get some music. What we got? Music? Anything? Oh, hold on. It doesn't like me. It doesn't like me. We got it? All right, good. All right. Music, all right. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of end this, because the abstract, the introduction is done, and I got to start getting into the main material shortly. It's 2 a.m. in the morning. I really need to stop. So I'm going to end this with some music. Give you this little picture here to image to look at, and see if you find anything interesting. So in the meantime, let's get some music. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Mr. DJ. All right. I'm gonna call it. Hold on, hopefully everything's still on. It's still running. All right. These videos take a lot of effort to do, and they complicate things and say, oh, it'll be easier for you, and there's more things that'll go wrong. So anyway, on that cheery note, thank you all for being here. Much love, much happiness to you all. I appreciate everyone for being here. Um, and you're just wonderful people. And I want to thank everyone who's supported me on Patreon. Bradley, my latest Patreon. Oh, he's been here from almost from the beginning of this, and he just recently became a patron. So thank you. All right, so on that cheery note, I'm going to magically motivate us out, and then I'm going to kind of sign off. My show's over, my shift is done, and thank you all for being here. I appreciate everyone. And so hopefully you've learned something. But within the next couple days, I'll have all of the next installment in this. And if the introduction was 2 hours, I'm thinking that's going to be longer than 2 hours to do that. All right. So on that cheery note, before I start rambling, I appreciate everyone for being here. Thank you for the love and support. Namaste. Have a good rest of your night. Thank you.